All right, good afternoon. I am Shannon Taylor. I am coming to provide my experience as an insurance administrator at a private practice, reproductive endocrinology, here locally in San Diego. And most of what I'm going to be able to speak to you on today is this clinic-based financial navigation from a provider's perspective, as I work very closely with the providers on this matter. So this is the very difficult part moving forward. Oh, this button here. Okay, great. Great. The three challenges that I wanted to discuss today in clinics are insurance benefit verifications, as well as the vast differences in the availability of information on insurance provider portals. And as we understand that there's mandate limitations and impact from clinical policies that allow coverage to be able to go through for these patients as they go through fertility preservation. The greatest struggle faced is being able to understand the verbiage. Each insurance company presents itself as its own product. It all provides the same information, but each carrier calls everything differently. So for example, the document prepared to hold all of the benefit details can be called a summary plan document, a benefit booklet, the benefit plan document, the coverage summary, the evidence of coverage. It all just depends on which insurance carrier you're talking to and which terminology they intend to use. Insurance carriers also cut costs and outsource to non-stateside groups for benefit verifications. So this now introduces a language barrier that we normally wouldn't have to manage, on top of other complicated procedural verbiage designed that seems to be misleading and misunderstanding intentionally. And these outsourced benefit agents aren't clinically trained to be able to interpret what each procedure is or does. My personal experience and the exposure to clinical training in the office of the Oncofertility journey makes it easier to interpret the complexities presented from the insurance company. And to continue to be effective, front office staff essentially have to become multilingual. You have to learn to speak the language of each insurance company to be able to navigate it well and to be able to have a better understanding of how we're going to help our patients. A great tool is now all major insurance companies put their benefit details available online. This allows us the ability to access benefits outside of standard business hours, which for Oncofertility patients makes a big difference. I literally was just verifying a benefit for a patient Saturday morning who had been put on our schedule for Sunday. And because of the online portal, I was able to look at her benefits and she could get that information before she came in on a weekend. And had that not been available online, I was subject to the insurance business hours. But it does have its limitations too, this online portal for providers, along the lines of different verbiage used by each insurance carrier. The provider online portals are all completely different, not only in the navigation, but with varying degrees of benefit detail. This first slide is an example of detailed benefits from infertility services from one insurance carrier. It has a great amount of detail and it leaves little room for misinterpretation. This carrier actually specifically lists that fertility preservation when planned cancer or other medical treatment is likely to produce infertility and sterility is a covered benefit. It's straightforward information, and now our financial team is able to provide a more accurate cost estimate upfront to the patient. Looking at this next slide from another insurance carrier, you could see a massive drop-off of detailed information. This only tells us that they have an IVF benefit, that there's no co-insurance and no co-pay is applicable, but that's it. It doesn't specify specific medical coverage within IVF treatment, including fertility preservation. Now the provider's office has to call the insurance company anyway and ask for more detailed benefit information. And navigating all of the insurance carriers' provider online portals takes additional time and resources dedicated to understand each insurance carrier's website and their terminology. There's no state regulation on how much information must be available online or even over the phone to providers. The third challenge is, even though a state mandate can be in effect, as we're learning today, it has its limitations. The two I want to discuss both negatively both have negative financial impacts on patients and at times provider clinics. First, the mandate fails to specify on the amount of coverage required for the by the mandate for these services. What percentage of service fees are covered by the insurances, and how much is the patient expected to pay? Secondly, it does not supersede each insurance company's clinical policy and what they each deem medically necessary. This causes many of the procedures completed in embryology, for example, to not be covered because some of them deem some of those services not medically necessary during a preservation cycle. Next is fully insured plans are subject to the criteria of each plan, of each insurance plan, and the self-funded are not under, and the self-funded plans are not under any obligation to follow the mandates. And so this can negatively impact our patients under self-funded plans, because unless their employer group elects to cover this, they won't get any financial assistance from their insurance along the way. So my final takeaways my recommendations to mitigate the lack of accurate benefit verifications is through educating a clinic's financial staff, through hands-on training and with experienced personnel or even a consultant. It will not be provided by the insurance carriers. With the variety of online portals, there should be a best management practice established for all insurance carriers to add the same specific detailed benefit information for oncofertility preservation. And lastly, with the mandate limitations, my recommendations to mitigate the limitations around this is to make the mandate as specific as legally possible to prevent insurance carriers from being able to leave it up to their own interpretation. Thank you.